Hello and welcome to the last second medicine series on ECG interpretation. Electrocardiography is a fundamental part of cardiovascular assessment and is an important bedside diagnostic tool. It is an essential tool for investigating cardiac arrhythmias and is also useful in diagnosing cardiac disorders such as myocardial infarction, pericarditis, ventricular hypertrophy, conduction abnormalities, use of ECG in exercise stress test for coronary artery diseases, and cardiac manifestations of non-cardiac diseases like pulmonary embolism, electrolyte abnormalities like hyper or hypokalemias, lung diseases, and drug toxicities. Familiarity with the wide range of patterns seen in the electrocardiograms of normal subjects and an understanding of the effects of non-cardiac disorders on the trace are prerequisites to accurate interpretation. For this reason, starting from basics of ECG is especially important. To start, let's know what does make the traces on ECG paper. Heart is the vital organ which receives blood and pumps it throughout the body. The contraction and relaxation of cardiac muscles result from the depolarization and repolarization of myocardial cells. In a normal cardiac impulse, the sinoatrial or SA node acts as a natural pacemaker and initiates atrial depolarization. It paces at a rate of 60 to 100 per minute. The generated impulse spreads to the atrioventricular or AV node through internodal pathways. After some delay at AV node, the impulse then spreads in a coordinated fashion throughout the ventricles via specialized conducting tissue of the His-Purkinje system. Thus, atrial contraction after some delay in the AV node is followed by rapid and coordinated contraction of the ventricles. Each wave on an ECG trace denotes different events of this cardiac impulse, which is discussed in detail in other video of the series. These electrical impulses are recorded via electrodes placed on the limbs and chest wall and are transcribed onto graph paper to produce an electrocardiogram, commonly known as an ECG. In tracing a standard ECG, 10 electrodes are used. 4 electrodes are connected to the limbs, 1 electrode to each limb. These are the limb electrodes, and 6 electrodes are attached to the chest. In all modern machines, these electrodes are usually labeled or color-coded according to which arm or leg they need to be attached. 6 chest electrodes are also labeled or color-coded, and these needed to be attached in these standard positions. The electrocardiogram is then recorded onto standard paper traveling at a rate of 25 mm per second. ECG machine uses the information it collects via all 10 electrodes to compile a comprehensive picture of electrical activity in the heart as observed from 12 different viewpoints. This set of 12 views are called leads, and this is what gives the 12-lead ECG its name. Each viewpoint or lead is given a standard name, that is 1, 2, 3, AVR, AVL, AVF, V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and V6. Positions of these leads on 12-lead ECG is usually standardized to make pattern recognition easier. Now coming on to the nomenclature of leads. There are several nomenclatures to categorize the 12 ECG leads. One common way is to categorize them into 6 limb leads, which are 1, 2, 3 AVR, AVL, and AVF, and 6 chest leads, that is V1 to V6. Other less commonly used way is to categorize these leads into bipolar leads, which include lead 1, 2, and 3, or unipolar leads, which include AVR, AVL, AVF, and all the chest leads. Bipolar leads are generated by measuring the voltage between two electrodes. For example, lead 1 measures the voltage between left arm electrode and right arm electrode. Unipolar leads measure the voltage between a single positive electrode and a central point of reference generated from the other electrodes. For example, lead AVR uses the right arm electrode as the positive terminal. For the sake of this series, we will follow the commonly used nomenclature, that is limb and chest leads. So, what viewpoint does each lead have of the heart? Information from the 4 limb electrodes is used by ECG machine to create the 6 limb leads, which is already mentioned, that is lead 1, 2, 3, AVR, AVL and AVF. Each limb lead looks at the heart from the side or the coronal plane, and the angle at which it looks at the heart in this plane depends on the lead in question. So lead AVR looks at the heart from the approximate viewpoint of the patient's right shoulder, whereas lead AVL looks from the left shoulder and lead AVF looks directly upward from the feet. The 6 chest leads, that is V1 to V6, look at the heart in a horizontal plane from the front and around the side of the chest. Once you know the view each lead has of the heart, you can tell if the electrical impulse in the heart is flowing toward or away from it. By convention, an electrical impulse traveling directly toward the electrode produces an upright or positive deflection relative to the isoelectric baseline, whereas an impulse moving directly away from the electrode produces a downward or negative deflection relative to the baseline. When the wave of depolarization is at right angles to the lead, an equiphasic deflection is produced. Consider the P wave, for example, which represents atrial depolarization. The P wave is positive in lead 2 because atrial depolarization flows towards the lead. But it is negative in lead AVR because this lead looks at the atria from opposite direction. Second use of knowing about viewpoints of these leads is that the arrangement of these leads produce some anatomical relationships, like leads 2, 3 and AVF in combination view whole of the inferior surface of the heart. Lead V1 and V2 view the septal area. Lead V3 and V4 looks at the anterior surface, and leads 1, AVL, V5 and V6 view the lateral surface of the heart. Knowing these arrangements allow you to determine which region of the heart is affected by a disease. A common example of this is myocardial infarction. Infarction of the inferior cardiac wall will produce changes in the leads looking at that region, that is leads 2, 3 and AVF. An anterior infarction produces changes mainly in leads V1 to V4. Amplitude of the electrical activity detected by the electrocardiogram machine is measured in millivolts. Machines are calibrated so that a signal with an amplitude of 1 millivolt moves the recording stylus vertically up to 1 centimeter, that is 2 large squares. The amplitude of the waveform recorded in any lead may be influenced by the myocardial mass, the net vector of depolarization, the thickness and properties of the intervening tissues, and the distance between the electrodes and the myocardium. Patients with ventricular hypertrophy have a relatively large myocardial mass and are therefore likely to have high amplitude waveforms. On the other hand, in the presence of pericardial effusion, pulmonary emphysema or obesity, there is increased resistance to current flow, and thus low waveform amplitude is recorded. Before attempting to record an ECG, ensure that you know how to operate the ECG machine. An incorrect recording can lead to incorrect diagnosis, wasted investigations, and unnecessary and potentially disastrous treatment. To record a clear, noise-free ECG, begin by asking the patient to lie down and relax to reduce electrical interference from skeletal muscles. Before attaching the electrodes, prepare the skin underneath with a spirit wipe and remove excess hair to ensure good electrical contact. Apply generous amount of gel to the limbs. Attach the limb and chest electrodes in their correct positions. When recording the ECG, always check that machine is properly calibrated so that the paper speed is 25 mm per second and the calibration mark has been made such that 10 mm is equal to 1 millivolt, so that wave height can readily be converted into a more meaningful voltage. We hope you have learned something from this video. If so, please like this video, share with your colleagues and subscribe to our channel. And stay tuned for the future videos on ECG interpretation series.